going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the All Elite Recap, which is the elongated title for what you usually see down here. As you can tell, we're flying solo here today. SP3 has a whole channel of wrestling things to run, which you already know because you're already here, so you already knew that. Jimmy Macram, though, he's got about 41 billion subscribers over on his own YouTube channel, at Jimmy Macram, where he's actually recording a movie or a TV show or something right now to react to that you should go and watch and click like on and follow that page if you haven't already as well. Point being, these guys are busy. I don't have much of a life, and I had an opportunity to be unfiltered and unchallenged in my viewpoints of All Elite Wrestling for the week. Yeah, we're gonna take it, and we weren't gonna do this live because we weren't gonna have any of you chime in the comment section. You can do that down below during this video. Somebody will check it out, I'm sure, but this show is about me today. I'm Cole Marcus Cash, and you're not gonna love all of the things I'm gonna say. Might not like any of them, but let's get to it. All Elite Wrestling's Wednesday Night Dynamite's back on a weekday this week, finally. And we're starting the show with CM Punk versus Bobby Fish. And personally, I'm a fan of both of these guys, right? They're both very fine wrestlers. It's a very solid match. I mean, who would have expected otherwise? We need to stop highlighting, though, our stars, like CM Punk, with talent from the non-existent third division, which I've referenced as their European title division. Bobby Fish is fine. Bobby Fish is also like 40 years old or something. He's not going to win world championships there. They've got so much talent in AEW. Bobby Fish should not be winning the TNT championship either. He's not with his tag team partner over there to be winning tag titles. He doesn't got two friends there where he could win trios titles, which don't even exist yet. So, yeah, they're clearly on very different levels here. Luckily, we're going to correct that later on this week, but we'll get to that in a second. This one ended, obviously, with a GTS for the pinfall victory. I say obviously because I don't think you would tap out Bobby Fish with the Anaconda Vice, since Bobby Fish is kind of a submissions guy. But at the same time, we hit the GTS, we get to the 3 count, but there's this awkward after the 3 count kick out from Bobby Fish. And the look on CM Punk's face, it tells me anyway, that there was some sort of miscommunication somewhere with something involved. I'm going to be curious to hear more about this in the dirt sheets, but AEW is really good about keeping things on the down low. See the whole Brody Lee thing. So I don't know if we ever get to. I don't know if that was to protect Bobby Fish for whatever reason, to lead to another match, but I guess down the line, because we're going to get to that in a second. Or Bobby Fish went into business for himself, which I don't see as a Bobby Fish trait from what I can tell about him. So just curious what the hell happened there. Hopefully they, get to it and let us know some sort of explanation. But either way, damn fine match. Check it out if you haven't, obviously. But yeah, we're getting to the point where it's great to see Punk wrestle, but the CM Punk versus random opponent thing needs to end, and I think it has finally. Again, we're going to get to that in a second. Now, the second thing we get to here is MJF versus Johnny Jobber. Don't know what his name is, don't care what his name is, and it clearly didn't matter what his name is, because this guy lasted all of about 3.5 seconds in this match. We get the Heat Seeker Pile Driver. We get what's maybe the 5th squash in AEW history. I might be embellishing, but it's not by much. They do not do enough of these. They hardly do them ever. They don't do nearly enough squashes in AEW. And thank God somebody had this common sense to realize that a squash needed to happen here. This match really was just an excuse to have MJF in the ring to cut another great MJF promo where he states his intentions for the world title, and then we also get a return from Darby Allin with a challenge for Full Gear. So this ticked all the boxes, makes MJF look strong. It gets over him with a clean win, so no Wardlow, no spears, no diamond ring, not even the armbar. We didn't even need to get the armbar. We had a secondary move, and he picks up a win over some guy who doesn't matter. I don't know if he's ever even been on YouTube. I'm a little behind on the YouTube stuff, but this is what it needed. Your stars need clean, easy wins over bums sometimes. It is what it is. Promo itself, it's an MJF promo. Clearly, that's fantastic. We get the more you know reference. If you know, you know. That was hilarious. That popped me and Jimmy on the couch. Sometimes the guys on the couch do like wrestling. And Darby coming out, I liked it. You know, Darby's back. You're not going to break him mentally. He's going to be the one to lay down the challenge as being the babyface, which, you know, should be the case sometimes at least. I don't know if I would have done it this week. Maybe I would have waited another week, maybe two. But hey, I'm here for Darby Allin, and getting him back on TV quicker than not is always fine with me. So curious to see where that goes. So that's a winner for me. So we're 2 for 2 so far on Dynamite, in my opinion. Third segment we go to is Sammy Guevara, and he's going to defend his TNT championship that he shouldn't even have yet, in my opinion. That should still be Miro's, but nonetheless. He's going to defend that against Ethan Page. All ego, Ethan Page. And this match did what wrestling matches should do. It had you at the edge of your seat. It had suspense. It had you not fully confident about what's going to happen. And that's what you should be looking for in wrestling. Not just, you know, flips and dives in the story, man, and whatever. It should be, you know, what's going to happen. Like, I know this is predetermined, but I don't know in which way. Sammy skated by in this match, the skin of his teeth, with a successful defense of his title here. As I mentioned, this match had me believing that they might have done the right thing, in my opinion, and give this title to Ethan Page. So, you know, job well done. Obviously, Sammy's going to bounce all over the place and do what he does. Ethan, obviously, is must-watch TV. So definitely, again, also check this out if you somehow missed it. But I wouldn't mind this as a series. Like, this, I think, could be a series. Obviously, Ethan Page can carry this and talk for both of them. And then Sammy can do a lot of the bouncing around and work rate for both of them. Not saying that Ethan Page is a slouch, because he's not, but this matched up really well. And it had 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different spots where, you know, you thought the match was going to end for either guy, and it didn't until, you know, like a jackknife kind of pin thing. That was great. I was here for it. Unfortunately, though, this all gets followed by more Inner Circle stuff, and Jericho's talking, and we're going to get Inner Circle versus Men of the Year and American Top Team in a Minneapolis street fight at Full Gear. Yawn. Bright side, obviously Sammy's going to do more dives. Santana's a star, and he's going to be in the match. That's pretty much it on that side. Ethan Page will be involved. As far as I know, that's pretty much it on that side. I don't know who from American Top Team is going to be in the match. You could say Junior Dos Santos. You could say, you know, this person, that person, that person. I'm hoping for Paige Van Sant. I know it's unlikely, but I'm here for her. She's a badass, and she's hot. I want her in that match, and I want her beating up, like, Ortiz or something. Preferably Jericho also. So let me get it. But otherwise, it's for that match and Inner Circle in general. Next up, though, we get Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson, and they're backstage with Tony Schiavone. And I'm excited immediately because, duh, Bryan Danielson. Duh, Eddie Kingston's about to talk. Tony Schiavone is unintentionally hilarious all the time. So, you get excited. It's like, all right, what's going to happen here? Obviously, this is the next matchup for their Eliminator tournament. And it's a great dual promo. Kingston had edge, he had fire, he had passion, he had disrespect. So there might be a little bit of a heel turn with Eddie Kingston coming too, since his boy Jon Moxley might be turning heel. Could be a tandem duel, or I see where you're coming from kind of thing, or however you want to explain it. But give me dual heel Moxley and Kingston. Great. Felt a little bit like that here. And Danielson, obviously, he's not going to drop the ball on that promo. As Kingston walks off, Danielson picks it right back up. Fiery Bryan Danielson promo. And his retort, very well done. If you weren't somehow already excited for that match, that promo definitely got you there. And if it didn't, something is severely wrong with you, and you probably like Matt Jackson. But nonetheless. Next up, we have the Lucha Brothers, and they're accepting the challenge from the greatest tag team of all time, FTR, for the AEW World Tag Team titles at Full Gear. Color me excited, take my money. That's all you need to tell me. You've got FTR in a match, and they're going for titles that they never should have lost a year ago, but that's beside the point. And you've got Rey Fenix in there. You got Alex Abrahantes around the ringside. Penta's there as well. This is going to be fantastic. Alex Abrahantes, speaking for both Lucha Brothers, I think it's a good, I don't want to say evolution. I think that's a bit extreme. But him speaking for both of them instead of just Penta Zero, I think it's better than it's even normally done. I think that's a little bit, it felt like a little bit of growth to the trio. I hope that's a thing going forward, since neither one of them can really talk, and Alex can just talk even more, even exclusively for them. They just tell them what they need to tell them backstage, and we don't have to do the back and forth. It's just Alex says, Lucha Brothers say, whatever, just run with that. But I like that, and I'm very excited for that match. Another match, though, you all should be very excited for, was Serena D versus Hikaru Shida. And somehow lost in all of this was Hikaru Shida's second attempt in as many matches against Serena D, specifically for the 50th win for Hikaru Shida. That kind of got lost in translation. It kind of got like thrown in there as a throwaway right at the last minute. That I didn't understand that. That didn't make sense. I felt like that was the whole reason why they ended up against each other in the tournament. But this obviously is a great back and forth match. Great back and forth action. Near endings all along the way. Deeb absolutely assaults Shida after the match, who picked up the win, by the way. Congrats, Hikaru Shida. You got your 50 win, yada, yada, yada. I would have done this way down the line. I would have had Shida losing and losing and losing and losing and losing and getting more and more frustrated in her incomplete quest toward this 50th win that would have led to her own heel turn. And no, I wouldn't just turn everybody heel, but people that have been face for a while and people that are better as heels should be heels. But yeah, Shida picks up her 50th win. As I mentioned, Serena D just assaults Shida after the match. There's a thought that this could be to give Shida an excuse for losing to Nyla Rose in the next round. That's what Jimmy thinks. Personally, I would use that ass kicking as a means of removing Shida from the tournament altogether. Either you can give Nyla Rose the automatic bye to the next round, or you can put Serena D back in there versus Nyla Rose because she's the only healthy participant from that match left to face Nyla Rose. And it gives you another Serena D match, which we don't get often enough because she gets hurt every 45 seconds. So let's have at it as much as we can. We then go into Lio Rush and Dante Martin. And they tell us it's going to be Dante versus Seidel 3 on Rampage this week because the Matt Jackson of the Seidel brothers is allegedly hurt. I want to say his name's Mike Seidel, but does it really matter whether I'm right or wrong? Do you even know? Either way, but allegedly he's hurt. I don't know if he is for sure, or if somebody realized he's the bum and he doesn't need to be involved, and we could just do another singles match. But they're gonna go with the trilogy, as Excalibur called it, and we'll get to that more in a Rampage recap at the end of this. But heads up, not bad. Next segment up on Dynamite, though, we have Jon Moxley, and he absolutely murdered, as you can tell, which is one of my favorite verbs. He murders Preston 10 Vance. It was slightly uncomfortable, not gonna lie. How violent this was, and I wish this next step of the Moxley heel turn didn't have to come at the expense of a larger individual with an impressive look like Preston 10 Vance. I get he's kind of an afterthought in Dark Order. Like, it's obviously John Silver, and you're kind of doing a Anna Jay thing now, and you give Uno storylines, and Stu Dos Grayson is, severely underrated and not utilized enough as it is. Preston 10 Vance kind of falls down the ladder. I get that. But he's still a big, impressive looking dude who's not bad in the ring. So this could have been anybody else, almost. Yeah, I don't know how you would have solved that problem. I wouldn't have put 10 in the tournament to begin with. I would not have had Preston 10 Vance randomly in a world title shot contender tournament. But nonetheless, Jon Moxley had the easiest of times beating Preston to a pulp, literally, and ripping apart his special Halloween version of his mask. It looked like they did something jokery with the old version of his mask. And then he just stormed off. And this pissed off, disgruntled, despising being a father, hating of Japan and newcomers of AEW and whatever else a tribute of this new Jon Moxley is. I'm here for it. It's fantastic. It's knowing there's a bomb in the building and you know it's going to explode and you're not running for cover because you want to see the wreckage that's about to happen. That might be a bit of a rough analogy for some of you, but I think you understand the point I'm trying to make if you ever watched like a Michael Bay movie. As I mentioned, the unquestioned, because it's not up for question, greatest tag team of all time, FTR. They cut yet another fantastic promo addressing their upcoming match against the Lucha Brothers at Full Gear for the AEW World Tag Team titles. There's so many things we could mention, but let's cut to the best thing of the entire promo. Living legends are a dying breed, and FTR isn't feeling too well. As fantastic as that line is, and besides being the line of the night and nearly the namesake of this recap, we go from a fantastic promo to the antithesis of that. And no, I don't mean Matt Jackson was about to speak. We cut right into Cody Rhodes coming out. And he cuts his Cody lost at Cena promo. And honestly, I'm a bit aghast at any of the love that this promo has gotten online. I don't understand any of you whatsoever. This promo is getting love and adulation on Twitter, and I seriously wonder what condition you all suffer from. Genuinely, I don't mean that like sarcastically. Like, I'm genuinely concerned, and I hope you seek the help that you clearly need, because how you like this is beyond me. It's flabbergasting. This was awful. This was abysmal. This was tone deaf, which is probably its biggest fault, and probably Cody and Brandy's most loud attribute of their human living beings is that they are completely tone deaf. It made me miss the Cody's quest to end racism promos, because those were infinitely better than whatever this I'm going to be John Cena in the most negative way possible promo. I am going to literally try my hardest to make you boo me more, but swear I'm still the good guy and be completely confused as to why everybody hates me. It doesn't make sense. Like, it you can hear them booing you. You address them booing you. And you don't even toe the line. You're just going to go all the way, and you're going to use insider terms. You're going to say things like turn. You're going to reference Triple H. You're going to reference the pedigree. You're going to reference that you could have gone back on your covenant, which is blah. It's not a covenant with the fans. Stop it. It's stipulation you put on yourself like a dumbass. It's not a covenant with the fans. Like, you can break it anytime you want. In fact, it's wrestling. Covenants like that get broken all the time, and quite frankly, you in particular should have broken it forever ago. Particularly before you had the stars that you guys have now. It also says a lot, I think, when Andrade coming out and Andrade speaking is an improvement to your segment. Like, that's a hell of a detriment to your segment. If you're cutting such a bad promo that Andrade El Idolo coming out speaking makes this better, that's not good. That's not a problem. I love Andrade in the ring. He's not a promo. He can't speak. I'm sorry. Even Vicky with him was better than him speaking. And we all know how atrocious Vicky speaking ever is. So, yeesh at all of this. And all of you for liking this. Fortunately, Malachi Black pops up. Out of the dark, all spooky, like supernatural, like, and then Pac runs out to the ring, and they both come out here to save this segment. And it appears we're about to get the old switcheroo with Cody feuding with Andrade now, and dear God, at that build, and anybody speaking trying to build that one up. But then we're also going to get Malachi Black versus Pac, and I'm ultra excited for that one. I'm all the way here for that, and that match, or series of matches, or whatever it's going to be, is worth whatever the hell that Cody Rhodes segment was, because woof, ugh, yuck. I'd rather get all types of uncomfortable medical testing done than to ever watch that Cody promo ever again. Last thing of the night, we go into the Dark Order versus the Elite Ghostbusters. And the match was fine. It was its typical fun kind of match that Dark Order and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega always have. That's kind of their thing. Nothing much to write home about, I suppose. If you ever seen any of their matches for either of the groups, you've seen all of their matches for both of these groups, and you would have seen this match, right? Only thing worth mentioning is Studos Grayson, still severely underrated, grossly underrated, disgustingly underrated. Makes for a good Kratos. That was a very good costume cosplay on his part, but we need to do more with Stu Grayson. 2, John Silver picks up the win. Color me shocked. I didn't see the Elite losing this match at all. It made sense why, as we'll get into in a second. Fortunately, somebody had the foresight to have Matt Jackson pick up the loss and him be the one getting pinned, rightfully so. He's the unquestionable bum of the 4. Which is why the Young Bucks are not the greatest tag team of all time, nor a great tag team of all time. They're a very good tag team of all time, but when you have the phenomenalness of Nick Jackson and the garbageness of Matt Jackson, you meet somewhere in the middle, and they don't hold a candle to FTR. So all of you need to stop that. But Matt Jackson picks up the loss. John Silver picks up the win. He wins with his they call it the spin doctor move. I don't know how to appropriately even describe it. It was like a torture rack start, and then he spun out, and it was like a blue thunder bomb thing, but he never sat down. He just kind of like tossed him down. I don't remember ever seeing that move before. Um, I would ask why Excalibur was so ready with the Spin Doctor name. Maybe he used it on YouTube. Maybe it's just Excalibur being Excalibur and just naming things they knows off the top of his head that none of us have ever seen. But it was pretty cool. It was a really cool moment to see John Silver picking up a win over Matt Jackson. Did not have that on my cue card. Adam Page, obviously, he was there. He's back. He was dressed up as, I know the character. I don't know the name. Was that the Michelin Man or something, or the Ghost from Ghost? I don't know what the hell he was. But he was in this big white costume, and after a while, you realize, like, holy shit, that's Adam Page, and he takes off the mask, and then it's him, and there's a big pop, and he lays out everybody, and it was cool, and it also shows that he's cool again with, slightly maybe realigned with the Dark Order. Don't know how I feel about that, unless we are going to get the Drunk Order, because I'm very much here for the Drunk Order. If we're going to make them baby faces, if we're going to keep them baby faces because of a kid, make them a Drunk Order. Give them all drinking problems. That'd be fine with me. Maybe they all drink now because they were stressed out because Adam Page told them all to piss off for a little while. While I guess Adam Page solved his own drinking problem, I guess, because I haven't seen him drink in his hand. Fine episode overall. Cody tried his damnedest to kill this episode of Dynamite, but despite being lost at Cena, this was a very good episode of Dynamite. So we go into Rampage a couple days later, and Rampage is gonna rampage. Like, you guys that were there in Boston and you left after the first match, you missed a fairly decent second third of the night. So the show Rampage starts with Bryan Danielson defeating Eddie Kingston, and he beat him with a triangle choke. So for those of you keeping score at home, that's 5 or 6 wins for Bryan Danielson now in AEW, and each one of those victories have come via a different means of victory. He's not won a second match with the same move yet, and that is a great story that I don't normally care for stories in wrestling at like much at all, but that is a great story for Bryan Danielson, where his badassery is so not fully explored yet, because he can win in any given way possible whatsoever, and you never know what he's gonna hit you with that's gonna pick up the win for him. So I think that was cool. Eddie Kingston being the badass he is all the way to the end, flipping off Bryan Danielson. That's still hard to get used to. Flipping him off in the triangle hold as he fades. That was great. That was great stuff. Particularly because Eddie Kingston didn't tap out, and he's gonna let us know about that in a second. Obviously, Bryan Danielson needs to go to the finals of this Eliminator tournament. I'd like for him to win, even against a heel Jon Moxley, who I have meeting him in that final at Full Gear. Not because I saw it on a piece of paper in somebody's notepad on a football field, but because that's the only thing that ever made sense when they announced these participants in the first place. If you haven't seen it, it's grotesque to look at, but the chops that I guess Bryan Danielson asked Eddie Kingston to give him across his chest were uncomfortably red. Like, I don't know how deep that bruising is on Bryan Danielson's chest is going to be. but I don't see how that goes away like anytime soon. Like that should be there for a while. Um, Too many chops. I think maybe too many chops. Um, the landings on Bryan Danielson's head also made me uncomfortable to watch. Obviously, Bryan's gonna know his own body better than any of us sitting on our own couches. But yeah, like the DDT and like the snap suplexes and all these things. But this was a mighty fine match, and they had great chemistry together. I think Excalibur or somebody mentioned that they shared a locker room somewhere in the past. I don't know where the hell that would have been. Um, but knowing their recent history, Bryan's in particular, for the last number of years, I don't see where that could have been. And at the very least, it was forever ago. So, them still having the chemistry they had for as good as this match was, that was great. And hopefully, we can see a lot more of that. I don't know if we will because of the way Bryan is wrestling. He might not be able to circle back to the same person twice ever again in AEW. Um, Afterwards, we're gonna hear from Punk. We're gonna have them random backstage. We're gonna hear from CM Punk because nothing special, and we're gonna drive everything into the ground. But it gets interrupted by Eddie Kingston, who's backstage just complaining and bickering and whining and moaning about he didn't tap out, he didn't give up, he shouldn't have been, submitted for by the referee in that match, which are all heel commentary. You know, faces are usually more gracious and like, oh man, better man got me, but heels are like, no, but there's an excuse. And he walks up to Punk, and they take exception with each other. And it seems like we're gonna get an Eddie Kingston versus CM Punk match, hopefully feud. And god damn it, if that's not A, exciting, and B, infinitely better than what we've been doing with CM Punk as of late, and something of focus for Eddie Kingston himself, which is thoroughly been missing because he is such a gem that he gets thrown into randomness also like this tournament. This is fantastic. This checks all the boxes that we should be checking. I can't wait to see this. I believe it'll be at Full Gear. Hopefully past that. Give it to me now. This is going to be great, and the promos on the way there are going to be amazing. I'm excited. This is what I'm a fan for. Second match of the night that most of Boston did not get to see. We got Dante Martin beating, finally, Matt Seidel, rightfully so, in their third match. So it's Seidel 2, Dante 1. Dante won with that double springboard moonsault thing that he does for the win instead of his normal front flipping stunner thing that he normally does to win matches. I like both moves, but I think this is the way to go. I think he should be catching people off guard and winning with this double springboard moonsault more often than the flipping cutter. It's more unique because everybody does a stunner or cutter, like everybody. B, it just looks so much prettier, and you're the only guy that can do it. It's more special to you. I like that they're continuing to push Dante Martin. I like this narrative that he can now finally pick up this win that he should have been able to pick up 2 matches ago against Matt Seidel because he has Leo Rush in his corner, even though he might be a little iffy about the partnership. I'm intrigued how this is going to play along with Darius Martin coming back, because you're assuming all of this is happening because Darius is closer to returning than not. I'm intrigued. There's quite a few different ways we can go from here, and all of them are good. Maybe he recruits Darius also. Maybe he turns on Dante and takes Darius under his wing. Maybe Darius feels slighted and he comes after Dante and Leo. You can go so many ways with this. Um, and Matt Seidel's kind of involved, and hopefully Mike Seidel won't be. But there's a lot of things that can happen here. Uh, I can only see good things out of all of those options. So this is great. Let's build up our under mid card and really tap into this potential that Dante obviously has. Uh, in regards to potential, though, we're gonna get into our main event of the evening, and it's not for the AEW Women's Title. It's for an opportunity at the AEW Women's Title, and it's Dr. Goat, uh, Brittany Grit Baker, DMD, versus Abaddon, the living dead girl. I love Abaddon's gimmick, her character. She does it well. She fully commits to it. All of these are super positive. Dr. Baker goes without saying. She's a gem. She's one of the pillars of AEW entirely. And as fine of a gimmick as Abaddon is, and how particularly well timed this was for a Halloween episode of All Elite Wrestling, Abaddon's still a mess. And I mean that in however you want to take it. So all of you getting offended, get more offended, because I mean this in more than one way. She's a mess. She's not the best worker, obviously. So she never really had a chance against Britt Baker, because there's no way this could have been a feud. Like, you don't drag this out. This is a one-off, and then you go away, and then you go back to YouTube, and then you go away again from YouTube. Not much to say about this match whatsoever, except for the fact that the acting by Dr. Baker is great. It was great. Her being afraid to the point where she wouldn't even want to stick her hand in the mouth of Abaddon during the lockjaw. Great stuff. Grit Baker is back in a return here, as she's taking more unnecessary, risky, hardcore spots again, just like she did in her match against Thunder Rosa, which doesn't count, so it doesn't really exist. But yeah, I don't know why Britt Baker is signing off on taking a few thumbtack spots against Abaddon, but if she digs it, more power to her. And Reba actually makes for a better zombie than even Abaddon does, and that's not taking away Abaddon's own zombiness, because she does it well, to her credit. But Reba was a better zombie than Abaddon, in my opinion, which is the only one that counts right now because I'm alone. Go ahead and watch that match, and it's not a great match at all. But go ahead and watch that match twice more, because at least one of those two times, Reba's gonna steal all your attention. From the Mark Henry split screen promo to them coming out to the ring, Reba's a gem. She's so all into her character, even when she's emulating somebody else's character. It's fantastic stuff. But yeah, the match, like, it was fine, and it was serviceable. It was probably the best way to put it. It got the Halloween episode out of the way, and then now we can go transition into November into literally anything else for Dr. Britt Baker. Not bad overall. Not their best Rampage episode, obviously. Not their worst either. So it is what it is, but coming off the heels of a very strong Dynamite in spite of Cody, I think this was a good week for everybody in Jacksonville. I give it a thumbs up. Obviously, as you can tell, I'm not going to do the hand in the middle thing. I mean, you can tell from the way I'm talking about this. This was a good week for them. But leave your comments down below. Like I said, I'm sure somebody from the True Heel Nation will take a look at it, maybe respond, maybe like the comments that you left. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I mean, I would imagine that you already did because you're here right now, and why wouldn't you be? Because you're obviously wrestling fans, and they obviously do everything about wrestling ever. More things than I even knew existed in wrestling. These guys are doing and interviewing what's his face and what's their job. You can follow Jimmy Macrum, even though he's not here. He's got a YouTube page where they react to stuff. Sometimes I'm there. Sometimes we're not having the same opinion on TV shows and movies, so that may entertain you as well. Either the All Elite Recap or the All Elite Ramble or some iteration of something will be up next week. Stay tuned for that. We'll keep you on your toes because even we don't know who's going to be on it, but we will see you then. I'm Cole Marcus Cash. You can find me on the Twitter at MyBatteryIsDying without the G because that didn't fit, where you too can block me like Simon Miller, R-Truth, and other people that I've pissed off have. You can follow me like a few people have. Steve Gardner, for example. Shouts out to him. Or you can find me on Instagram at RealColeCash. Nothing's on there yet because there's not enough of you following me yet before I unveil some interesting stuff I'm working on. Anyway, that's been all. That's been me. That's been you disagreeing with me. And until next time,